Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the Clubroom, presented by the Winning Academy. And we have some super sponsors, which I talked about a little bit earlier. But again, they include, of course, Insperity. We have Harlem Standard, my favorite whiskey by far. We have Every Kid Sports, which is a fantastic organization to support, along with Women in Soccer, another fantastic organization. There's Spinzo, which is a really cool place. And, of course, Starlet. We got Stadium Custom Kicks, which we'll be talking about shortly. But make sure if you want to see more about any of those sponsors, please click on their logos, and there's more information there. Again, also, you're in the Club Room, which is part of the Winning Academy, which is really designed to help all athletes and non-athletes really be able to elevate their game, whether it's their career, their business, whatever it is, by learning all kinds of information that really can help them sort of catapult ahead forward. So today we're going to be talking about a gentleman who at the very, a younger age of 26, he's a little bit younger than me. He's already been running a company for 3 years now. He's playing professional baseball. And, he's also from Long Island. So Alex Katz, I'm going to bring you in a second, but first I'm going to do the quick little intro. Alex was born on Long Island. He went to college at St. John's, so he stayed close to home. I think it's mom's cooking and or the laundry or something or other. But St. John's, fantastic baseball team. And in fact, they won the Big East back in 2015. And about 11 seconds later, he was drafted by the White Sox. And he's spent his first couple of years in the minors. Then he performed and played in the World Baseball Classic, WBC, back in 2017. But he played for Team Israel. And how cool is that? I mean, that's really cool. In fact, he's become an Israeli citizen, dual citizen, just recently, so he can perform in the Olympics. I think that's pretty damn cool. But he started Stadium Custom Kicks back 3 years ago, and he's already landed Aaron Judge, Aaron Hicks. I see some Aarons kicking around in here, but all kinds of athletes, including my other guest today, Miguel Rojas. Miguel hails from Venezuela, where I used to live when I was muy pequeño. I lived there for 4 years when I was a kid. It's an amazingly beautiful country. The jungles, the beaches, everything. It's just a great country. And Miguel, incredible baseball talent that comes from there. And Miggy is, he came from Venezuela, but he was drafted back in 2006 by the Cincinnati Reds. And he played in the minors with them through 12, but then he went over to the Dodgers organization. He broke in with them back in 2014. He had his first hit a couple of days later. That must be so cool. I think that's a day he'll never forget. We can talk about that. But now he's been with the Marlins for almost 6 years now, basically 6 years. And pretty cool. He's just a really cool guy. And what's really cool about all this stuff is that Miggy is a big sneaker collector, and Alex is a big sneaker seller and shoe seller and so forth. So we're going to talk about them. So I'm going to stop talking and let them talk. So I'm going to bring each of you guys in here. How was that intro? Is it okay? Did I do okay? Did I get
Beautiful.
it right?
You sound like the PA announcer from Marlins Park.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, gentlemen, for being here. The big reason why I wanted to have you both in here is that I think one of the things that most athletes wait too long to do is really develop a secondary interest that they can really push forward after they retire from their sport. And I think a lot of athletes, what happens is they tend to do is basically say, well, I don't want to do something else because I don't want to prepare for a plan B, because I'm really focused on plan A right now. And so what I try to say is, look, instead of thinking it as your plan B, it's your secondary interest. You're having fun with it, and you're growing it so that when you're ready to retire, you can jump into that. And Alex, you've got a head start on that, man. You started this when you're 23 years old, so you saw the light way sooner than most people do. But let's first start real quick. I'll just get some baseball stuff out of the way real fast. Alex, tell me a little bit about what are you doing to stay, I guess, in baseball shape to be ready for the upcoming. I think there's so much is in flux, not just with when things are going to start and spring training and so forth, but also in the minors. What is going on with the minor leagues being absorbed by the majors and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a lot of changes going on. Most teams, I'd say 95% of teams haven't even announced where the minor league affiliates are going to be at. So as from a minor leaguer's perspective, I just focus on what I can control, and that's my work ethic and how hard I work during the off season. So pretty much every morning is training, throwing my bullpens, long toss, all that. Basically spend as much time as I need to on my baseball career, and then the rest of the day I devote to stadium custom kicks. So it works. Luckily there's 24 hours a day. I still get good rest, but for me personally, my baseball career comes first, and then I know I have enough downtime from my playing career that I still have enough hours to run the business successfully.
Now, I like both of your backdrops because it's really cool how you have these fake, like the green screens behind you, and those are fake, right? Those are fake bats behind you, Miggy? Or are those real things?
No, no, these are bats from couple of my favorite players in throughout the league, and there's no just because they're my favorite players, but I consider them my friends because I play against them or I play with them, and I ask for a signed bat so I can keep it on my wall and share with people like you and with my family when they come to visit because I think that's one of the coolest thing about playing in Major League Baseball is the relationship that you have with people and having the opportunity to meet so many people from different places and get to learn different cultures. I feel like I bring my own culture to the game, which is a base of Venezuelan baseball, and then I learn from the different cultures and the similarities that we have in the clubhouse, and is something that is amaze me every single
Well,
time.
yeah, that's great. Well stated. So tell me a little bit right now of how are you keeping sort of prepared for when things start up again?
Yeah, for me, is like Alex say, is controlling my work ethic in the off season is the most important thing. I always say, you have to control your effort when
Mhm.
nobody's watching. Like when nobody's watching and no cameras are around, is when you really have to put your head down and grind because that's when you actually get better. Because in the season you're just competing against the best. So actually, in the off season is when you put your head down, you start working out, you start working on whatever you didn't do good during the season last year, and whatever you did good, you're trying to get better. So that's actually what I'm doing right now, focusing on 2021, what we want to accomplish as a team. And something that I said to my club after we got eliminated in the playoff this last year was like, if everybody in this clubhouse get a little bit better for next year, our team is gonna get stronger. So that's something that I wanted to pass around and trying to motivate everyone to be
Well, look,
better
you obviously
for next year.
your team surprised a lot of people. I don't think anybody expected the success that you had, and I think that's got to be exciting to see that because it's clearly that and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but obviously your team isn't filled with superstars, right? It's not. This isn't the Yankees. It's the Marlins where there's but if everybody does what they're supposed to do and they work hard and they focus, they can truly succeed, right? And that's clearly what happened with your team this year.
Yeah, it's a work from the bottom up. I feel like top of the organization have a lot of responsibilities on our success, which is 3 years ago, new ownership got to the team. Derek Jeter, Bruce Sherman got to the team, and they first thing they asked was a little bit of patience because it was going to be a lot of changes, a lot of things that probably didn't make sense to a lot of people at the beginning, but making our organization stronger was one of the things that they wanted to do and they preached. And we saw it this year. We saw our oldest pitcher in our rotation
Yeah.
was 24 years old. So that's something that is really exciting when you see so many young players and young talent in the big leagues already. And I'm excited about the future of.
You woke up one morning and you said, "I'm going to have a company." No, you didn't do that. Tell me though how this all got started. You know,
Yeah, so I was with the White Sox at the time, and as we all know, the most boring colors in all of baseball, black and white. And in the minor leagues, we pretty much had to wear solid black cleats. So as soon as I was invited to play for Team Israel, and I was in single low A at the point when I was invited. So going from playing in front of 2,000 fans and now 50, 60,000 fans in the Tokyo Dome, and being, on national TV and obviously TV channels across the world. That was by far the biggest, platform I've ever played on. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to customize my cleats. I didn't know who to send them to. I didn't really have enough time to send them in because I knew once I found someone to do it, turnaround time would be, pretty long. So basically worked on them with a friend, and then other friends and teammates wanted to order, and then just over time, just started adding more artists, and now we have 15 artists working for us.
But was there a point where you said, gee, this could be actually turned into a business versus just kind of having fun with some teammates and stuff?
I'd say not until, because the first year we didn't even have a website. Everything was through Instagram. Payments were through like Venmo. It was really like a hobby the first year. The crazy thing is that our first client was Aaron Judge.
Is he what is he in the minors? What's he doing these days? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that guy.
He's in rookie ball, but
he's really small too. Small guy.
The crazy thing is that What Pros Wear, which is a baseball account that posts a lot of cleats, they posted my cleats from Team Israel for the World Baseball Classic, and then Rob Refsnyder from the Yankees DM'd us and asked us to make him a pair. He said, "Can me and my friend Aaron get a pair?" And he sent the box with like 10 pairs of cleats, and obviously the size 17 ones were Judges. So
17.
when I came home for the All-Star break that summer, we went to Yankee Stadium and delivered them, and that was pretty cool. And then as the company started growing and added more artists, we were actually the first customizer that the Major League Baseball approached to get licensed, because to create custom cleats, you need to have a license now, or as of 2019. So right now there's only like 3 companies who are authorized, and we're one of them. And it's
wow.
It's a pretty cool feeling. It's a pretty cool feeling because Miggy isn't the only big leaguer even on the Marlins that we work with. There were at least three to 5 more players that wore them. So I think it's pretty cool, that I think Miggy's inspiring some of his teammates to step up to his swag level.
I like that. So Miggy, tell me a little bit about the style that you like to have, and is it a reflection of your personality? Is it, tell me a little bit about what makes, in your mind, not just obviously a shoe or cleat that works and you feel comfortable in, but reflects that.
Yeah, I mean, I always been a basketball fan my whole life. So I follow Michael Jordan career. I follow Kobe's career. I really like Allen Iverson. And one thing that these guys have in common is they have really cool kids, and they all have their own line of shoes and stuff like that. And I always dream about that. I wanted to play in the big leagues, of course. Yeah, that was my main goal. But after that, I wanted to bring my style and my flash to the game, because I'm a shortstop, and I remember Barry Larkin from the Reds. He told me one day, like, everybody knows the shortstop have the most swag. So for me, that's right. Like, I wanna bring my own style to the game, and I always been a Michael Jordan fan, and I like the Jordan collection. So I have my own collection here at home, and so I present Alex with a great opportunity to work together, just making a play on the field, like making a play on the field with some of the cleats that Alex made for me and his group and the extraordinary team that he have. And then having that opportunity to make that play with the cleats on, open us up another thing to do. So it was a great opportunity to do some cool stuff like that. And I mean, actually having my first signature shoe with them,
Something I need to add real
special.
quick though.
Yeah.
Miggy, you got to show everybody the wallpaper. So Miggy made a sick jump throw on opening day against the Phillies, and he was wearing our cleats. This was before Miggy signed the deal with us, And on the broadcast, they said it's got to be the Jordans because it looks like the Jordan logo right there. So the broadcast kept talking about that, and that kind of started the idea of creating his own signature line. And this all happened in the shortened season this year, because obviously,
Look at all those, and look at them.
Yeah. So from the play, we went to the shoe, and the shoe had the logo on.
Oh, cool.
See? So I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty special. So the shoe already have the logo on. The logo is on my wall, and on top of that, I was talking to the people in the table. So one of the things that I enjoy the most is sending a message with everything that we do, right? So I mean, this is a special message that they wrote on the shoe for me, and it says it's more important to be a good person before you can be a good player. So other beyond just bringing the style and trying to put an extra flavor on the game, personally through the cleats, I trying to impact on life too, and trying to make kids believe that it doesn't matter how good of a baseball player you are if you're not a good person and good in life overall. So that's something really cool that we started doing, and I know that the shoe and the cleats and the running shoes are looking really cool. But I mean, it's always a message behind that we always want to get across.
Oh, I like that. That's great. So so Alex, you try to do that with all your shoes and putting messages in, or is there just some people that want them, or how's that work?
Miggy's the only player with the quote on the inside.
That's really cool.
Like we have a lot of people that like Bible verses and quotes like that, but I think personal touches like what's on Miggy's cleats are super special. And people who purchase that shoe or that cleat, because all the shoes that Miggy rocks, we offer to the fans. People absolutely love the message. I mean, the cleat, like the design alone is really cool, but people really like that message on the inside. People really felt touched by it.
Oh, that's really cool. So, so a couple quick questions that I'm going to toss in there now. And we're going to start. First question is for you, Miguel. It's someone wants to know, being shortstop with the Marlins. Shortstop with the Marlins, but having Derek Jeter around, what's are you able to learn anything that from him that made him successful and a Hall of Famer? What are some of the things that you noticed and learned from him?
Being in the same spot with Derek Jeter is always cool. Like you're always gonna. That was one of the guys that I look up to when I was growing up, and I started to play baseball, and having Derek Jeter as a former shortstop being my boss now, it's really cool and important because I mean, that's a guy who's always available, always have his door open to you if you have any questions about baseball, about life, about whatever. But other thing that I really appreciate and I always gonna respect is the way that he treat players, and he give themselves their own space. So you're not gonna see him around in the clubhouse. You're not gonna see him like trying to teach anybody how to hit, how to play, because he knows how hard the game is. But the other thing is always available, and he's always there. Some of the things that I was saying early is I haven't seen Derek Jeter not in a game in Miami more than 2 or 3 times, and I think those 2 or 3 times he's probably was watching on TV doing something else, because he really cared, and he showed that he's paying attention. He care about his players, and he care about the organization, which is something that you're always going to respect. So I have a lot of respect for Derek, and not just as a player, but now that I know him as a person and as a CEO.
Well stated. That was really good. How do you feel about Major League Baseball licensing customized cleats versus giving players the ability to choose whoever they want?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the players do have a choice. There are definitely competitors out there. And there are definitely customizers out there who are doing it technically illegally without going through the league. But no, they're not. Nobody's really forced to go with a certain customizer. There's definitely other options out there. But I think from the league's perspective, I mean, we all, I'm sure everyone here follows baseball or knows at least a little bit about baseball. but Major League Baseball definitely likes to control as much as possible. You know, and you know, you look at the rules and stuff like that, which makes sense. You know, so from this perspective, they realized that, you know, it could get out of hand with, you know, players doing controversial stuff on their equipment. So it does make sense that MLB wants to regulate, you know, the footwear and the cleats that guys wear on the field, because it really is protecting their brand, which I totally understand.
Now, I guess the question I have is, can a player who's got a contract with Nike or with whoever, can they still send them? I mean, can you still customize those shoes, or does Nike not want that happening, or how's that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're doing with Miggy is it actually started with Felix Hernandez. So Felix Hernandez is signed with Nike, and we're customizing his cleats and sneakers, and he's selling it on his website where he sells like hats and stuff like that. So that gave me the idea to now collaborate with Miggy on his own signature shoe line. Felix Hernandez kind of like our test run with that, and it kind of shifted towards a new dynamic with Miggy. But yes, a lot of the guys we do work with are, you know, maybe we'll be like an Under Armour guy or an Adidas guy, but you know, a lot of those companies only send the basic stock white, black, blue, red cleats, and you know, guys still want to have unique designs on them. And a lot of those companies like New Balance, Under Armour, and Adidas have sent us shoes in the past for their guys to get customized, like for the All-Star game or the Home Run Derby. So we do work hand in hand with a lot of those brands.
And do you find that it's does it add to the cost or subtract to the cost if it's coming from somewhere else? And do they, I mean, are a lot of these shoes very expensive shoes, or can there be some that aren't so expensive? How's that work?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is done by hand. So the pricing is all based on how many hours have to go into it, you know, because like something like this is just a plain Jordan 1, you know, only the blue and the logo was painted. So maybe this takes 6 hours to do. But if I were to paint, you know, 5 logos in here, a portrait here, you know, that could take 25, 30 hours to do. So the price definitely varies drastically depending on the amount of artwork, you know, so
It
that
takes
really
that long.
has, yeah,
Wow.
some of these projects like Miggy's, if you look on Stadium Custom Kicks or on Miggy's Instagram page, the Sunset Jordan 1 sneakers, those took over 15 hours to do. That it took a lot of work, but they also look really cool. You know, I think that's one of my favorite designs that we've done for Miggy.
Let me
Okay,
go.
great.
Let me go get.
Now, I'll start with you, Alex. What do you think of the rule changes that are attempting to speed the game up at all?
I mean, I kind of like the old school factor of, you know, baseball having no time limit, but I guess we have to accept the changes. We really don't have any control over them. I guess the fans just have to speak up.
Tell me a little bit about, you know, running a company as an entrepreneur, where it's, you know, it's really been just you starting, but now you've added artists to the, you know, now you're up to 15 artists, and I think you've got a couple other people, I'm sure, helping you here and there. But what's been sort of the biggest challenge of running a company?
Yeah, I guess just the day-to-day operations, like, you know, things change. My ultimate goal with the company is, you know, I guess the game plan is to have someone order and don't hear for them unless they're enjoying the shoes or want to order again. You know, the last thing you want is like, when are my shoes coming? Or like, I wanted the color a little bit darker or something like that. So at the end of the day, what I've realized to run the company efficiently is to get everybody on the same page. We do Zoom calls once a month, go over, you know, new stuff. We have graphic designers. So with Miggy's shoes, almost on every one of Miggy's shoes, we had the designs drawn up and sent them to Miggy to get approved, because we obviously discussed different ideas before we worked on them. So creating mock-ups and stuff like that has been super, super important, because in the past, sometimes artists would spend hours on shoes, and then the customer would say, "Oh, I want this added and this added," and that would be maybe 10 more hours of work. Where obviously it's hard to charge a customer more money when they already paid. Plus, those extra hours take away from working on the next order and then gets us behind.
Right.
So,
Right.
just getting everybody on the same page. Everybody working with us is a really good person. Obviously, a really good artist. They take full responsibility for everything that they get their work out in time. Like when I told Miggy he would have his shoes by this game, like we got it to him by then. We got 6 pairs within like 25 games, which I thought was pretty cool. We got them done pretty quickly, and we even have one artist in Miami. So Miggy even met up with the artist, and we tossed him in the back of his trunk, and he went right to the more than 10 minutes later.
Wow.
Right to the game, rocked him, hit
Right to the
bombs, went home. That's it.
Yeah.
3 bombs?
Yeah.
Did I miss that? Did I miss something there? That's that. All right. Now, look, it's.
No, I hit
Oh, you
one.
did? Okay, that's cool. That works. That works. Now,
you did a hit a home run the day you wore the splatter ones. The first day you wore, the same day. Yeah.
The same day.
So Miguel, I'm going to ask you this because when you walked away, I don't think you heard this, but what's your opinion about some of the rule changes that they're trying to put into baseball to speed up the game a little bit?
The game is evolving, and people wants to see a fastest game. We still want to play the baseball game that we grew up watching and playing. That's the thing that we want as a player. We don't want the game to be touched. It was pretty tough to play extra innings with a runner in second base, starting in the 10 and playing doubleheader 7 innings. But the game is adjusting to the circumstances, so we have to do it. And there's getting in the way of the game of baseball itself, like a pitch clock and stuff like that, to make it a little bit more maybe likely for especially young viewers or fans that they wanted to get with baseball. But to be honest with you, what is going to continue to draw fans is the style of players. Like Alice was saying, I remember a couple years ago, not just in the minors but in the big leagues, our clubhouse guy make us wear 50% of the shoe has to be black. So that's kind of boring on the sense that I want to bring my style to the game, so I can draw some young fans that like the new style of shoes. Whatever, they follow Kobe Bryant, they follow guys like LeBron James, and you see how those guys bring a different color shoe almost like every half of a game. So that's something that in baseball is a little harder to do, because you know how it is. You play in dirt, in grass, and you actually, after you break a pair of shoes, you want to keep wearing those shoes for like at least 1 or 2 weeks. Then having that rule like holding us and not showing what we really want to show, it was kind of tough. And that's something that I think they're not like letting us be ourselves. So other than making the game quicker, they have to let the players be.
Now, and look, I think that baseball has come a long way in the sense that, used to be you couldn't wear any, there's no personalization. So I think it's starting to get a little bit more open. It's funny. I remember just a few years ago, none of the pitchers could be, none of the players could be showing tattoos. They had to cover them. And now you can see everything, I think. Especially in season while you're playing. I mean, do you have other people that help run the business? Do you just kind of still try to focus on it? How's that work?
Yeah, I wouldn't say fortunate, but my minor league season was canceled this year. I did get to play a little bit in the local independent league, which the Royals let me play in. But I had a ton of free time on my hand this summer. Obviously next year where I'm playing, it's obviously going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'll make it work. And I'm sure with all the people that are working with us here, everybody will be more accustomed to how we work, and that'll be lesser responsibility of me kind of like babysitting or keeping an eye on everybody. Everybody will kind of, take responsibility for themselves and really understand how everything is done. But no, I mean, I'll still make the most of my downtime. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't go to bed, the second I come home from a night game. Either way, you got the adrenaline flowing. You're going to be sitting in the living room for an hour or two after a game, until you get tired. So, if I spend an hour or two after the game or a couple hours in the morning before I get to the field, so be it. I'll still find a way to maximize my time while also, obviously not taking away from my baseball career, and obviously making sure I get enough rest is most important. But at the end of the day, my first few years in pro ball, when I obviously wasn't involved in this business, I was a head case from a baseball standpoint, nonstop, 24 hours a day, just thinking about baseball. And I'm sure Miggy knows that feeling. Like you have some bad at bats. Like you keep thinking about that over and over. So it's really important as an athlete to have another hobby outside of baseball to really clear your mind and get over that bad day or even that good day, because you really want to separate, what happened on the field. You really want to be able to clear your head and move on to the next day. That's the great thing about baseball. You play every day, and you have an opportunity to have a good day every single day. It's not like football. You have to wait a full week in order to play. That's also why I like being a relief pitcher. The opportunity to pitch in every game rather than waiting 4 or 5 days to pitch.
That's a great comment. I really like that, Alex.
That's why after I go 0 for 4, I go online. I'm sorry. I go 0 for 4 and I go online about a pair of shoes. That's why I have so many.
You've had too many.
As a baseball player, you go 0 for 4 a lot.
Wait, so you have had too many 0 for 4s then? That's why you have so many shoes?
A lot. Yeah, I think I have more 0 for 4s than home runs overall in my career.
So we could just count the number of shoes you have, and that's how many 0 for 4s you have.
That's great. Now, so Miggy, just a quick question. I mean, you've been playing for a little while. You're not the youngest guy anymore. You're a veteran now. Have you given much thought to thinking about, in 5, 10, whatever years when you decide it's time to retire, what are some interests you think you have that you'd like to do down the road? Yeah,
I think I'm gonna stay on the field. I think I love baseball so much, and I've been learning so much because nothing in my career came easy. I spent 7 years in the minors. I got the opportunity to play a lot of minor league baseball games. I was there with a lot of good coaches, great teammates, and a lot of people that I learned from. And I think I had the opportunity to learn in a little bit of like every category of the game, not just on fielding or hitting, but I learned shift. I learned analytics. I learned about everything that the game is going towards. And I feel like I want other kids and other players to get the knowledge that I have now. So I think I see myself staying in the game of baseball in any capacity. I would like to be a manager or a coach or something like that, regardless of the position that I am. But I wanted to continue to help the game grow on the baseball field, and then being the manager with the best.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Sure. Well, there's no doubt you will be, right? All right. Listen, I got a little special surprise for a couple of people. I see there's some new questions in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually invite each of you who have a question to come into the room and just basically do me a favor and just, ask your question. Don't go into necessarily a long-winded pretext about anything or long stuff. Just go ahead, come in and ask your question. And Dahlia, I'm going to have you come in first and just click on the button, jump on in and say hello, and then ask your question if you could.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And I always noticed your shoes, but I am even more impressed now. So thank you for sharing your collection. My question is for both of you. What habits or advice do you have for creating work-life balance? You two are obviously elite athletes, and you have your own passions outside of the game. How do you not let that take over your life? And, how do you achieve that balance while also giving yourself the chance to recharge?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Before you go, Alex, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything that she said, so sorry, Delia.
Oh, that's okay, Miguel.
So basically, how do you balance, work life and regular life? It's definitely easier in the off season. The off season, especially living with family. You're pretty much always around them except when you leave, especially in this COVID era. I really only leave the house when I'm working out. I've been home a lot, especially with our season being canceled. I've been home, I guess, for way too long. It's time to leave a little bit. But during the season, you're pretty much, baseball during the season takes over your whole life. Luckily, like Miggy, for example, he still lives in South Florida. So he's able to see his family during home games, but a lot of guys don't necessarily live where they play, so they're away from their family for a long time. So that is definitely a little bit of a challenge, especially during COVID. I'm sure during this past season, the big leagues, I'm sure guys went the whole season without seeing their family. So there's definitely a challenge there. I'm sure a lot of guys get homesick, but at the end of the day, you're living out your dream. So there's plenty of people who would love to be in your shoes. And my parents, when I first got drafted and I was kind of sad about leaving home, my parents made a good point. They said, would you rather be going out to war in the Middle East or going out to Arizona to play professional baseball? And it made a great point, and I hopped on that flight, and I'm glad I made that decision.
That's great. How about you, Miguel?
No, for me, it's really important to have support right next to you, or even if they're not there with you at the hotel room or anything. It's always nice when you receive a call or a text message, especially for my family that they're back in Venezuela. I always in contact communication with my mom, my sister, my dad, and they're always present even when they're not here. It's so important for a player in any sports to have the support, because like I was saying, there's gonna be more bad games than good games sometimes, and so you have to kind of leave that aside and keep that on the field. And then when you're coming home, or when you're gonna see your kid, or when you're gonna see your wife or your family, you just gotta forget about that, whatever happened, good or bad, and just become the father, the husband, the person that you have to be at home. So I think that's one of the biggest difference about being at home and being a person at home, and then being the baseball player, because sometimes that gets on the way when you're not having a good game, or when you had a great game, you think you're in top of the world. So there's have to be some balance, and I'm 100% sure that family for me is my balance point.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Dalia, thanks for that great question. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Through the magic of technology, here he is.
Thank you for bringing me in here.
Of course.
Essentially, the question for both of you, and I'll try and shape it. Given the typical uniformity that you'd see in attire, have either of you observed any advantages from being unique? Or potentially, Alex, I think on your end, it's maybe a marketing opportunity. If there's a way to sort of go a performance way, or Miggy's talking about how he puts the splatter shoes on and hits the home run that night. I'm thinking, is that because the pitcher was looking at your feet? So the opportunity there. In rugby, they've researched that a different color shoe than kit can influence the way you can distract and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of thought I'd bring that up as a potential opportunity for Alex, but then also Miggy, one for you, where if you've got a big game, aside from just feeling comfortable, you might want to take an extra step, quite literally.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Sure.
So I'll basically talk about two different perspectives. So from a pitcher standpoint, sometimes when I'm grooving, I don't even know who's in the batter's box. I'm so locked in, I don't even know who's in the batter's box. So whatever that guy's wearing really has no effect. I'd say from a personal standpoint, having they say look good, feel good, play good, and I think it's definitely true. If I'm wearing some ripped up cleats and my pants don't really fit good, I'm not really going to feel comfortable. So if you feel comfortable, you look good, you're probably going to play, not necessarily play good, but you're going to play better than if you don't have confidence. You need confidence to play. From like a marketing standpoint, I mean, you go back to Miggy's jump throw that I just showed, which is on his wall. Like, his shoes and Miggy alone as a player, got a lot of attention there. Like the broadcaster said, look, it's got to be the Jays, Miggy with the unbelievable play. So that same play was now posted on MLB social media at MLB with a few million followers. And then from more, obviously as Miggy cleat collection has his cleat collection grew over time throughout the season, people became aware of it and people kept an eye on it and people were talking about it more. The broadcast, actually, that same guy who talked about the jump throw was totally on board with what Miggy was doing with his cleats. And when he debuted the paint splatter cleats, which he just showed to everybody with the quote on the inside, he said, like, these are now available on stadiumcustomkicks.com. You could be just like Miggy. And I think that's really cool. And obviously, when the Marlins were in the playoffs, I believe it was at Minute Maid Park, the MLB social media team went in the clubhouse just to take one photo, and it was of Miggy's locker of all the cool cleats that he had. So he had the opportunity to go to any player's locker, but he went to Miggy's because he knew for sure Miggy had some cool looking cleats in his locker, which obviously helps us as a brand and Miggy as a player building his personal brand.
I'm 100% believing on if you look good and feel comfortable or whatever you're wearing, you're gonna perform even better, because you're gonna have the confidence. And this game is all about confidence, like Alex was saying. So for me, it's more than just having a cool looking cleat. It's having all my teammates just waiting for me to show up in spring training to see what I'm coming with. Like that's something that when you create the standard, you're gonna have to keep like getting better every single year. So we actually always have conversations about what we're gonna come up with, because we have to come up stronger, because people are already expecting us to be high and to be really good on the click game.
That's great.
Thank you, Mark, again for having me in.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Andrew.
Yep. See ya. All right. We're gonna do. We'll try to. Yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. So we're going to try to do a couple more questions, and we'll go back to the tables real fast. This gentleman here, I'm going to just let Nick ask this question, but he played some baseball. He also served in the military, and he's got 27 kids. Say hi to Nick. I'm joking about 27.
No.
So the Atlantic League. Cool. So the Atlantic League got absorbed by Major League Baseball as a partner league. Do you think that will help or hurt minor league baseball and then the game as a whole from a player standpoint?
Yeah, so I played for the Ducks in 2019. It was already technically a partner league because they were testing out the new rules. So, like, some of these rules I saw implemented already, or some that might be implemented in the next few years, were tested out in the Atlantic League with the robo-umps. There's a baseball with stickiness on it, because obviously they're talking about allowing pine tar or some sort of sticky substance, because every pitcher is basically using it already. What else? The runner on second in extra innings and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if it really benefits the game, but it's kind of used as like an experimental league. I do think with the contraction of all these minor league teams, though, independent leagues like the Atlantic League are going to be, the talent's it's going to be super, super high. I mean, the Atlantic League already is a really good league. On our team alone, we had over 20 guys re-signed within a few months to a major league organization, and 2 or 3 of the guys made it back to the big leagues within a few months of being in that league. So I think it's just going to get even stronger than it already is.
Do you think the electronic strike zone will help you or hurt you as a pitcher?
I think there'll be definitely adjustments that need to be made, because what I noticed is that pitchers were getting more high and low strike calls rather than side to side, which makes sense because the strike zone is actually, actually somewhat narrow, definitely a little bit longer from a height standpoint. So it would definitely change the game in some capacity, and pitchers would have to make the adjustment. But I don't think it's going to be implemented into Major League Baseball until it becomes pretty exact to the way umpires are calling strikes right now, which is why they're still testing it out. It hasn't been implemented yet.
Great question. Thanks, Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Andrew?
So my question is, what advice would you have for a current college baseball player recovering from multiple injuries? I'm a Division III baseball player, but I've sprained my UCL twice in 8 months. So I just, my game hasn't been the same since. So, I'm trying to figure out what to do because, therapy isn't working. It's just,
Yeah. I mean, I'd say try to find some minor leaguers or even big leaguers who are in a similar situation, and get the best advice from them and see what they did to recover. Luckily, I've never been in a situation like that where obviously I've been injured or had surgery before, but I never had a problem with the rehab, obviously knock on wood there. But at the end of the day, I'd say don't just leave it in the experts' hands. Do your own research and try new things. Obviously not risky things, but who knows? Maybe some stretch or even some piece of advice that you find on internet or learn from somebody can make a big difference. Because honestly, from a player standpoint and mechanical stuff as a pitcher, I learned the most making myself a good self-coach, just learning how to teach myself rather than relying on other people to teach me mechanics. So just reading articles from trustworthy sources and stuff like that, trying new things, goes a long way. Who knows? Maybe it's even something with your diet or sleep habits. Little things like that really go a long way. And who knows? Maybe that'll make your body feel better, which maybe will allow you to recover faster. So I'd say just be mindful of little things and definitely do more research on your own. It could really go a long way.
One thing I'll throw in there, Andrew, is, someone like Alex is available. I mean, you can connect with him on LinkedIn and through his site and everything else. And, people like Alex who are playing the game now, I think that they would be able to refer you to some people too. So don't be afraid to just reach out and keep on connecting with people, again, like Alex, who there's plenty of athletes that are, whether on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever it is, that they'd be more than happy to give you advice and or connect you with people that could really be helpful. I mean, I think your quickest road to recovery, though, honestly, is getting rid of that whole the Washington football team stuff over your head.
Yeah.
Just saying. But anyway, well, listen, I appreciate your question, Andrew. Thanks again, and we'll chat with you back at the tables for a few minutes if you can hang out.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, listen, I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate him being here as well. What we're going to do is bounce back to the tables one more time. But just remember, everybody, once again, there's plenty of events coming up. Please sign up for them. I already mentioned where'd my bottle go. It's right here. That sounds pathetic. But anyway, Harlem Standard whiskey tasting on Tuesday. Alex is coming. He told me he is. Whether he's going to or not, I don't know, but he said he will because he wants to taste some of this whiskey. Also, Thursday, we've got a great event with Dave Meltzer and with Jed Collins. They're fantastic folks. Also, next Tuesday is with Benny Fowler, who is a current football player, played for my Giants for a couple of years. Now he's with the Saints. And he's joined by J.J. Burden, who played with the Bengals but caught a touchdown pass or two or something from Joe Montana. That's cool. That's next week. So that's in 2 weeks, sorry. So anyway, thanks again, everybody, for being here. Please stick around. We're going to be going back to tables and doing some more chit-chatting and so forth, getting to know each other. Also, one thing I wanted to share. Oh, I forgot. I didn't do this in time. Hang on. I wish Miggy was still here because I wanted to show you guys something here real fast. I'm going to share Miggy's locker. So if you guys go to stadiumcustomkicks.com /collections /Miggy's locker. these are the shoes that he's got in his collection, and they're pretty damn cool, aren't they? Wouldn't you say, Alex?
I think so.
I know. But anyway, so make sure you go to stadiumcustomkicks.com. Check out all the shoes they've got there. They will create them for you. And thanks again for being here, Alex. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much.